Namibia, a land of contrasting beauty and a rich history, inhabited by people of diverse cultures. One man stood out as a beacon of leadership and love, uniting them all under one roof. This is the story of Dr. Hage Geingob, as told through the heartfelt memories and reflections of his children, Nangula and Mangaliso Geingob.
Today, I'm here as I'm the first daughter, ne? Because I mean that I'm your sister. Yes, so I'm actually here as your sister. We are the children of the late, great Dr. Hage Geingob. My name is Nangula and Mangaliso.
My name is Mangaliso Fernandez Geingob.
We are the two eldest of his children. After me is Oshoweli Munashimwe Gengos. And then there's Dankos, Ndakonjelwa Gengos. And then there is Hage Geingob Jr. And we are the 5 biological children, but it's very important that we also let everyone know that he also had 3 love children, and they were from his previous marriages. They are Helmut Angula, as well as Nino Kalondo and Kayla Kalondo. He also has 3 grandchildren, my 2 sweethearts, Naomi Dukes and Jackson Dukes, and Oshoweli's baby boy, Lucas Hage Marley Wakudumo.
My father, met him when I was quite young, and I think the most outstanding thing for me was when I came during independence, and he took me to the flat. And when I got here, there was nothing, just open land. And I came during school break, so it was late June, so it was cold. And we're sitting out, there's nothing here, just 2 plastic chairs, and we sat down. And he told me, I'm going to build my house here. And I said, okay. And I'm getting a little chilly, and we were out there for like an hour and a half, and he was telling me just about what his vision was and what he wanted to do. And in my young mind, I was thinking, okay. So then I asked him, I said, okay, I want to get my passport, I want to get my citizenship, I want to get all my stuff like that and everything. And he said, no, you have a U.S. passport, you keep that. And then he said to me, what do you think you have done to earn getting a passport or getting a citizenship? There are people here who have died and people who have not even been back into the country yet. So I will not practice nepotism. No nepotism. You will have to earn your way. And that was a very sombering thing. It was an experience. And later on, when we went to the main house he was staying in at the time, I was downstairs and I was going through his music, and he has this collection of jazz music. And one of my favorite pieces is John Coltrane's My Favorite Things. So I'm sitting in the dark and I'm playing that. And he comes down and he sits down, doesn't even say anything. And we're listening to Summertime, and every time we say goodbye, just the classic, and of course my favorite things. And we're just listening to it. And then he says, you're like me. And he just gets up and just walks away. And it's moments like that, you just saw the intimacy that we shared in that type of bond. And it helped shape me in a lot of ways too, because I'm not here all the time. I do come here frequently enough, okay? So, but I'm not here all the time. So one of the ways we always communicated was via phone, of course. And he always texts me. But he will call sometimes like 3:30 in the morning. 3:30 in the morning in the United States time, which is about 9:30 here. His thing was, why aren't you up? You're lazy. I'm like, it's 3:45 in the morning. I might just got back in from clubbing or having some fun, but I mean, I'm pretty much in bed at that time. And we would talk, and I enjoy those moments. And I think those are, even the little text messages I have, I'm going to find a way to save all those. I'm going to put them on a cloud or something. I don't want to lose any of that. But it's stuff like that that just really touched me and really instrumentally guided me to a point of understanding what he was and what he is as a man. And his connection with his children. I look at his relationship with Nangi, Oshaveli, and Dangos, and Helmut, and Kayla. And you always say Kayla got it. Nice treatment. She was never wrong, which is kind of cool. He had a sense of humor and a sense of compassion. And you have to understand that. And you have to really be able to spar with him. I say that'd be the best word. You gotta be able to throw your fans. You gotta be able to hold those hands, you know. If you throw hands with him, you're good. I think he respected that.
Then you are new.
Then you're new here.
Then you don't. Where are you from?
I'm from here.
You know, how come you?
I just in the newspaper on the television.
Because you are here only now.
Yeah.
If you were always here, you team work.
Only you I see working here, but not the first.
Don't tell my
It's the first time.
I like that. You know, not her. Very good.
because he works late. Shaduka, please defend me.
Through laughter, tears, and cherished memories, the children of Dr. Geingob paint a vivid picture of a man who was not only a leader of a nation, but also a devoted father and mentor.
First and foremost, Daddy was a disciplinarian. He definitely instilled in us the fact that it's important that we work hard, the fact that we should set goals for ourselves. So how do you handle the school year? Which subjects do you want to improve on? And what strategies are you going to use in order to achieve better grades? The nation knows he was a big believer in consultation. So we would have consultations about our grades and our career pathing. Daddy was always the best advisor. But not just advising you, but also encouraging you and supporting you. But you do have to come with him with a plan first. You cannot just expect him to be the one to craft everything for your life. You must show that you're independent. So once you come to him with that plan, this is what I want to do with my life, Daddy, or this is what I'm working on, this is what I want to achieve. He will listen to you. It's almost like you present it to him, and then he will help you, advise you, coach you, and then be your biggest cheerleader. I remember some moments when he was most proud of me. Such funny times. He was proud of me because I was living in the States and I was working for an independent TV station, cable TV station, and I was basically working on an African lifestyle channel. And so I would do the news, I would report on what's happening back home and also what's happening in the States, but only for the African community living in America. Apart from that, Dad was a lot of fun. People don't realize it. Watching him and Monica, we used to call it their love bubble. They would just get lost in their love bubble, and he would just make jokes and make her laugh, make jokes and make us laugh. And part of being in his house and growing up with him is that you have to be able to take jokes and make jokes. So I really did love making my daddy laugh. I would impersonate people. I won't do it for you now. And he would be able to determine who I'm making fun of, and that just used to make him laugh. He was, it's difficult to say he was always present. That's something people don't realize, and it never ceased to amaze me. How can you be in the middle of Parliament and still remember that I asked for pocket money earlier on? I could never understand it, but he used to be able to do that. He used to be able to work incredible hours and still find some time for us. we knew that there was a magic hour that we couldn't disturb him in, and that was 8 o'clock news. So for all of us children, we know 8 o'clock, don't call him, don't text him. If anything, just come and watch the news with him. Don't talk, don't utter a word unless he asks for your political opinion or economic opinion on something. And you better make it fast, because after the commercial break, we all have to focus on 8 o'clock news.
On sign language interpretation. Thank you for making the time to join us. In the headlines tonight.
So this is a house that watches NBC, and we watch it because of Dad. And he loved dancing. I think everybody knows that. But what's also really, really special is that he loved dancing with us and watching us dance for him. So some of our, last memories of him are just partying, guys. We were having a good time partying with Dad. Dad was the life of the party. Comrade father and comrade mother, I want to take time out to express gratitude on behalf of all your children and the rest of your family members for your continued love, support, advice, and the gift of your time when we know that the demands of big political leaders are very great. Comrade father, as the patriarch of the family and of the nation at large, you are like a giant tree. A giant tree that provides us with shelter, protection, and induces and nourishment.
Dr. Hage Geingob's legacy extended beyond his immediate family, embracing a diverse community of extended siblings and family, stretching beyond blood, nurtured within his home. The late President Geingob's children speak about their father's playful and competitive nature and efforts to reconnect with his biological family, as well as his inclusive approach to family and nation building.
Extended family is a lot of Namibian women and men who have either lived in the house with us because of exile. During exile, you pretty much had to make family where you could. So for the leaders that had houses that could accommodate more young men and women who had left Namibia to fight for independence, they needed a home as well. And Daddy made that home for them as well. They still call him Dad to this day. And the way he raised us was that we didn't know tribe. We literally did not know tribe. When I was growing up, I really thought that the language of Namibia was Oshiwambo. I thought our traditional dress was the Herero dress, Moshikaiwa. I thought that Damara was like, I don't know, a way we enjoy ourselves, or I just did not know tribe. I didn't know it.
You remember Swapelmund? Dodgeball? Okay. So
Anything athletic, he's there.
So we go down Swapelmund, and it's a friendly game of dodgeball, you know. And us children are playing. He's at the balcony. So then he has to come down. I'm athletic enough to dodge my sisters throwing a ball at me, no problem. And he comes down, give me the ball. I said, oh, we're gonna do this now, right? Okay. And you know, he had a good feint, and he tagged me, and that was messed me up. And then he walked away, and he's like he's over and done with. I was like, no, you only got it once. You gotta come back. No, you're out. I got to. So that's how we're gonna play. So I like that spirit of competition. I like that bond. He also liked to tease a lot. And he had a strong, you gotta hold your own. So for example, like, I live in the States. So I have a small house and, a little bit of land. And he would say to me, so tell me, how much land do you have? I said, you know this already. No, just tell me. I got like 2 acres. And here you measure everything in hectares, and y'all have this massive amounts of understanding of what land is and everything. In the States, it's a small premium. He said, that's nothing. My house is bigger than that. I said, yeah, that's true, and everything. But at the same time, he would say to me, I'm very proud of it. He didn't say proud. He says, you're doing good. You're doing well. You're doing good. You've done better than me. You're able to grow and do things. And I think what he was impressed with, the fact was that I bought a small piece of farmland. I'm not a farmer. I know nothing about farming. But we started doing small gardening, square foot gardening. And then I did non-soil production of food through non-soil mediums like hydroponics, that kind of thing. And I would send him videos and pictures of what I was doing. And that's when he was really giving me my thumbs up. And he said, that's good. And to get that type of reinforcement, that type of approval. And as a son, you want your father's approval.
And a daughter.
Yes. And at the stature that he's at, any type of approval, you really think that you really know that you earned it.
Yes.
It wasn't easy coming.
That's right.
And that just made everything for me. And I enjoyed when he would call up on the phone at 3 o'clock just to mess with me. He knows I'm sleeping. I love that. Just October at the GN, General Assembly GA, we were went to this jazz club. He loves jazz and he loves me. They know him a lot for dancing. I know him a lot for listening to jazz. That's just being in this cool area every time he comes to New York. And he finds the most underground, gotta go through all the hoops and movements. He has a connected person to know somebody gets this, and we go through. I'm like, wow, it's like something like deep, like under the Matrix type thing. We're like, wow, this is really cool. And we just sat there, Monica, he and I, and listened to some music, sat down in this cool vibe place, and it was atmospheric, it was jazzy, it gave a feel, and you could see him tapping his hands and clapping, and you just saw that robust, energetic enjoyment. Like all of life's pressures were off of his, and just the three of us there enjoying good music.
So our family was the Swabo family. Then when we returned to Namibia, he did want to reconnect with his, with his biological family. And so he had to be intentional about that because he really did not know them. We really did not know them. I don't speak Damara because of that, but he would try to have these, what he'd call them as family reunions every day after Christmas, which is Family Day. And the family is so big, so he would have to rotate them. So you'd know that your clan is getting invited this particular year. And then he would organize the transportation, because it's a lot of administration that has to go into getting everybody at our family farm. So we would have this family day, and I remember those reunions from as long as I can remember. Maybe I was 12 years old, I think, the first time he started doing them. And then what I loved was how all the different clans will get up and explain how we're related and go through our bloodlines and talk to us about our history, our family history. And those were the times when you'd actually hear him speaking in Damara, because remember, he was very concerned about ever speaking a language that would leave one group of people out. So if it's a group of 100 and 20 of them don't speak Damara, Daddy will not speak in Damara. But at those family gatherings, that's when he would finally speak in it.
I'm just here to say hello. Nadisa, am I? Okay, that's all. I'm a president of everybody. Not a San, not a Damara, not a Wambos and so on. So I must be neutral.
And my cousins, who are of course born and raised in Windhoek, would say, yo, Uncle Hage speaks like an ancient Damara, like the words he uses, the vocabulary is of course from when he left the country. He left the country at what age? He was in his early 20s, right? So his vocabulary is apparently outdated Damara, but when he was with his family, then he would feel comfortable to speak it. And then you sing all the songs, you see him loving those songs and just really bond with the family at that level. So for me, those moments, I'll be honest with you, are equally as important. Swapo family and our Damara family are, to me, the same. And that's also how he looked at the nation. He loved all people, not just the ones that are related to him by blood, but the ones that are related to him in like unity of purpose, the vision we have for this country, the way we want to treat each other. It's not just because you are my cousin or my kin, it's because you're my fellow Namibian. That's the Hage legacy.
And that's spread across the ocean too.
Absolutely.
That's spread across,
Absolutely.
The families that he made contact with, connections with in New York, Philadelphia, are all still there to this day.
That's right.
All of them.
And his wife and staff to come through Atlanta anytime, and I can get a lot.
Those are connections. They have a certain type of umbilical, that keeps you forever linked. And even across stretches of time and space, there's never been a lacking, or when we all meet up, it's like we just saw each other yesterday, although maybe 5-10 years have gone past. And this experience today has shown me just how international my father is. There's almost literally no limit. I have met and talked with people from almost every nationality, multiple nations, and they have all been consistent in their understanding and appreciation and love and respect for him. Unparalleled. I've never seen anything like that. And that's what a good man, an honest man, a consistent man can bring forth.
Amen.
That's what he's done.
Amen.
Everywhere in the Constitution it will say there must be an act of parliament. So to have the process of electing our leaders to exercise our democratic right, we must have elections. Now to enable us to have elections, to have a framework under which we are going to conduct our elections, we have Electoral Act. That is an umbrella kind of the law dealing with all kinds of elections. And they are governed, how you are going to register, all these things are stipulated. Just the idea of elections. That law covers that, starting from presidential elections, National Assembly, to now the regional and the councils.
Monica Gengos, or Mama Bear to the former First family, has been the pillar of strength for the family. Mangaliso, Nangula and the rest of the siblings thank her for her unwavering care and dedication to the family.
When he met Monica, her warmth and her genuine nature, it comes through from day one. So we were like, yes, family, that has made the right choice.
Her sincerity, strength, conviction, honesty. I mean, you saw her during this entire period. That woman has not slept, barely eats.
She hasn't left his
side. She goes out her
side.
way and she saw everybody, every single person. She stayed up till 1 o'clock in the morning, making sure that every single person was seen. And on that night, she would go to my father where he was laying in state, and she stayed there all night, and then got up. Didn't even go to sleep. Went home, freshened up, and went back for funeral services.
Yeah.
And she's been going through this since his diagnosis. That's how long. That's what love is. That's the epitome of love.
Our nickname is Mama Bear because the same way she protects her own biological children, I have personally experienced her protecting me. And it wasn't in a way of, I'm gonna be docile about it. I mean, she went for that person's neck for me. And so that's why I call her Mama Bear, that protective love that lets people know that there's a line, don't cross it. Don't play with my children, they're off limits. So that's why she's called Mama Bear. But I really feel like Dad found the love of his life. And I knew that because she so much loved my dad, she wound up loving his children and his grandchildren. She has a special bond with my son. And when she married my dad, there's obviously the age difference. So my son calls his grandfather Opa. And then he thought, okay, I should now call Monica Oma. And so you could see she wasn't really happy with being called Oma. She's like, I'm not ready to be called an Oma. So then my son's like, okay, she's Monica and she's like an auntie. So I'll just call her Monty, Monica plus auntie. And they have a special bond. So Monica's been a blessing to us. I watched her take care of my father until his last breath. She was there. She was by his side. She was doing everything the Bible says that a wife is supposed to do for her husband. She did that.
The issue was my wife was misbehaved. I'm in intensive care. It's on one bed. She was given a room next. She moved in there illegally. So anything was okay. So during this, it was helpful, but it was illegal. Thank you very much.
At the same time, she's this amazing professional woman. She sacrificed that career to be his first lady. And she just brought us so much honor as a nation, even as a family. She really took care of my siblings and the extended siblings and everything that comes with that. She's handled it with maturity. She's handled it with grace. Lots of grace.
She is the consummate mother.
Absolutely.
She says to me, Mangaliso, you eating? Now he's going through all of this. I'm a grown man. And she wants to make sure I'm eating.
Yes.
And then she goes out of her way, and all the million of things she has to do, she goes out of her way to make sure that somebody is getting me my particular diet, being a vegan. And maybe we got to get kinder to us vegans. Okay?
Can I tell them the story?
Yes, you can.
When he first came back home, Daddy was so happy, like, my son is coming home after all these years. I'm gonna prepare this huge feast for him. But guess what kind of feast it was? A braai. A braai. All types of meat. He had goats, cows slaughtered. And then Mangaliso looks at him and he's like, Dad, I'm vegan. And I don't think we even understand what does that mean. Oh, then get him some bread. No, Dad, I'm vegan. We don't know. No meat.
No meat.
No meat.
You can't live here. We all eat meat. That's what we do.
This won't work. Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah.
Fellow Namibians, it is with utmost sadness and regret that I inform you that our beloved Dr. Hage Geingob, the President of the Republic of Namibia, has passed on Sunday, 4th February 2024 at about 00:04.
When I first got the news, for me it was a Saturday afternoon at 5 p.m. My uncle called me at midnight. Nangi called after that, Donald called after that, and it just hit like a ton of bricks. Whole chest just felt like, how you gonna catch your breath? And I'm very outgoing. I love being outside. I cycle a lot, hike, all that kind of stuff. 3 days I stayed in the house. I didn't go out anywhere. And I watched a lot of the NBC. And I got here, and the driver came up, he just hugged me. He just embraced me. Welcome home, brother, welcome home. And then the people in the airport were just giving me condolences. From that day forward, Namibia has shown me nothing but the utmost love, respect, condolences, and I love everyone for that. I mean, they've actually taken all that burden off my chest. I was able to breathe. It seemed more like a celebration of life than anything close to a funeral. I've never experienced anything like this in my life. And the people just keep giving and just keep. And I learned it wasn't just my father. It wasn't just our father. It was your father. He was your uncle. He was your president. He was your cousin. He was your uncle. He was so much to so many people. There's no way you could. That's just it, like his name says it. Monica explained it so well. You know, the game means big. He was bigger than life. First name Hage means he arrived. And he arrived in a magnanimous way. There was nothing small about him. And even his transition was massive.
Absolutely.
I was overwhelmed and humbled. And this Namibia, as we see it, is the Namibia he envisioned. This time encapsulates the entire experience of what it's been. Everyone pulling together around me.
You're imitating his voice.
You just gotta love what happened and just what. I mean, I've never felt so much love in my life, and I hope it never ends.
Amen. I think also as a nation, we were probably, not just as a nation, but even in the family, I think we thought he was subhuman. We thought he could take all the blows, all the attacks, all the insults. We thought he could take care of all of us and always be there. We thought he was going to beat it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's Dad.
Absolutely.
So even when things were looking a bit dark, we were thinking that he'll just get up again, brush his shoulder off, and keep moving. But then that's when you realize that as big as he was, as powerful as he was, as tall, as strong, as impactful, just magnanimous human being, at the end of the day, he was still a human being. And so, an 82-year-old man, having achieved all that he had achieved, done all he had done, all those accomplishments, it's time to rest.
Agreed.
And we are at peace knowing that he's finally resting.
Legacy has to be told by people. You cannot praise yourself and say, I did this and this and this. But so far already from, maybe not from Namibians, but from international community, what I'm getting at my legacy, I'm very happy with.
what they are saying, what I have done. But I cannot sit here and praise myself. Self-praising is no recommendation, they say. But legacy is there to see.
He'd often forget all the people he helped and how he helped them. He never kept record of that.
No. No IOUs.
No.
He just gave.
Just gave.
And when you have a person who does that and is able to selflessly give of himself, I mean, what can you ask for? One more time? And the beautiful thing about him, as he left, is how we will remember him. We didn't get to see him in a wheelchair, having lost massive amounts of weight, his hair gone. We didn't get to see him emaciated, right? We didn't get to see him weak, disemboweled, and not recognizable.
It's true.
And he went out in office, so that means he didn't retire.
That's right.
Although we wanted that retirement. And I even think of Monica in this way. To have 10 great years is superior to having 20 average years.
That's right.
Or 30 bad years.
That's right.
And I mean, everyone who's been touched by him can feel that all over great.
Absolutely. Even for one day. The first few hours, first day, it felt like a living nightmare, to be honest. We were in utter shock, disbelief, but we didn't have much time to deal with that grief privately because, of course, hours later, we're talking about transition of power. We're talking about the passing of a head of state while in office. And therefore it automatically became very public. And I think most Namibians kind of had an idea about Casa Rosalia, especially those that live in Windhoek. But this house became like a public house. People were flooding the house, and that was overwhelming. There's no other way to put it. It was overwhelming. So I think you start, your mourning process is kind of like put on hold because you're, like you said, receiving dignitaries, you're receiving heads of state, you're receiving all the ministers, you're receiving members of parliament, you're receiving political parties and their leaders. You're having to console others, really, because I never had before seen so many grown men, grown women shedding real tears, so that instead of me focusing on my mourning process, I'm actually now helping console these people who you now realize truly, truly loved and adored your father. And he had touched their lives and so many lives, like he said, around the world. But then at some point when we were in, I think midway, we started having more memorial services, and then we are now seeing him as the world saw him. And then it takes on like a greater dimension. Now I'm filled with a sense of pride. Now I know it's actually my responsibility to honor him, to make sure that his send-off is dignified. To make sure that we receive all people who come to mourn with us, no matter their backgrounds, no matter our past, no matter their affiliations, they've all come for a common purpose, and that's to mourn Hage Geingob. So it got different towards the end. It took on a more positive kind of turn towards the ending. And I think that all culminated at the final memorial service.
Namibia became everything he wanted us to be: united, law-abiding, and pulling in the same direction. In his death, Hage truly came alive. As he transitioned out of the limits set by his earthly body, we also transcended the political, racial, and ethnic boundaries we sometimes impose on ourselves. Hage was dedicated to building an inclusive, united Namibia that lived up to its potential. He wanted the country's integration of cultures and the lack of tribalism he was raised in. He wanted to see the same integration and unity in his blended family. He and I, Mangaliso, Helmut, Nangi, Oshoveli, Dangos, Nino, Junior, and Kayla, as well as many of his sons and daughters that he took as his own. The love and unity you see in our blended family are a testament to his leadership skills, even at the family level. Hage was our North Star. When we looked at him, we knew in which direction to go. He may no longer be with us, but he did leave us with a map that has clear directions.
It just ended for me it was more positive than negative towards the end. I will miss him dearly, but at the same time, wow, just so honored to have been his daughter. Honored.
True honor, absolutely. The amount of respect and admiration that he garnered was beyond my imagining. You know, growing up, while he was in Lusaka and I was in the States, he was like a hero to us. Like, Namibia was always this exotic, cool place where they're actually fighting for liberation and redemption and honor, and they're going to get their land back, and they're going to be a free and powerful people governing themselves. So this is how we saw Namibia in the States. You know, this is our dream come true. This was going to be our Wakanda. You know, I mean, they have natural resources that nobody else has. I mean, you know, you got green hydrogen now, you got oil, I mean, you got all the bio minerals and unique landscaping and just the topography. Everything about Namibia was strong to us. So that's how we saw it. And to say that your father is a part of that, along with other greats, like, you know, you're sitting in the living room as a little kid, and just the luminaries that were there, you know, Kalinga, the Depot, I mean, these are people, and these men and women were there discussing, and they were young. I mean, they were like in their 20s something. You think, wow, you know, I hear these stories. I wasn't there for that, but I hear them so much. It's like they're my stories now. You know, I hear them, and they were repeated over and over again. When I first came back, when independence was established, all they did was take me around to all the family members, all the expats and people like that, and we just said, and they just told all these stories. The amount of consistency in those stories was unbelievable. That's why, like, they're ingrained in me so heavily. They're not even really, I didn't experience these things, but it's almost as if I had. And that's the thing I think that made it. And then I've seen letters. I mean, like President Biden wrote a letter of condolences, and it read as if he just sat down and just thought about it, like, wow, this man I'm going to write about, and I'm going to give his family condolences.
That's right.
Every letter read like that.
That's right.
Sincerity, honesty, commitment. I mean, and I just met so many, I mean, you're meeting heads of state that come here and just tell you how much your father meant to them.
For us, it was like, even when you know you've messed up, even when you know you're wrong, and I think that's true for anybody who's encountered him, please know he will call you out on that. He's going to hold you accountable, and then watch. You can be in your feelings, you can be upset about it, you can pretend like he didn't give you the best advice, but when you're alone and you introspect, you realize that the advice he gave you was 100% correct, and you're the one who needs to correct yourself, therefore. So I think everybody experienced that from him at a professional level. We experienced it at a family level. And I will always treasure that. It's really how I want to also conduct myself as a mom, to be that type of parent. I'm not going to hold bars. I'm going to tell you like it is, because I love you. And that's why he parented us the way he did. So, but he was born with a 6th digit. Mm-hmm. And according to folklore, I believe that's a mark of a leader. So many other signs why he's a leader, but this was one of them, right? So when we were children, when he was a child, they bound it so that it can fall off, but there'd be a little stub left on both hands. So when he knew that we recognized there's something different here with him, not like my hands, but we're little kids, we touch it, he'd go, "Ow!" like as if it was so much pain he was experiencing. And then as a kid, you think that is hilarious. So I know I'm hurting him, but it's so much fun. So you do it again and he'd fall out, "Ow!" And we'd have a lot of fun with that. That's one of my favorite games we play. But jokes, the jokes are so many.
I remember he had, came to the house. This was, we were in the States. And he had bought me a brand new bicycle. And he's putting it together. And he's having a little difficulty. Your mom was there, man, in fact. Your mom, my mom were upstairs. And they were wondering what's taking him so long to get this bike together. And he was putting it together without the instructions. So my mother and her mother came downstairs and they were like, "Well, why are you doing it? Why don't you just follow instructions?" "I know how to put together a bike." And they were like, "Well, why don't you just read the instructions and everything?" Anyway, after however long it took, my bike was complete. So they're looking at it like, "You left pieces out. I mean, there's nuts over here and there's bolts. I mean, what's this part for?" "It doesn't, you just need it, this section." And the bike worked perfectly and everything went on about a minute. And they just laughed at the fact that he did it that way. But that's a little telling too. It's almost like he had an intuitive understanding of how things worked, how things were put together. And he applied that, whether it be with a bicycle or with a constitution, with state craftsmanship. You see how he put things together. He put people together. He put families together. And he made it all work. What do you say about that?
The nation does need to know that for him, what he was working towards was that he was very diligent about his own personal health. That is right. He was very transparent about his health. But every time he got sick, and I was always there with him, from the first time he had the operation on his skull, every time he would appreciate the doctors, the nurses especially, all the women that took care, men and women that took care of his health, he would always say that, "But look at me, I'm Hage Geingob, and therefore I can afford to be in this private hospital. What I need to see is a Namibia where there's no difference between your government hospital and your private hospitals." He felt very deeply about that. And managing state is not easy. So it's so nice to sit on the outside and think that, he would ever make a selfish decision about his health. I think it's quite the contrary. For most heads of state on this continent, they do seek health care outside of their countries. My father was one president who, as much as he could, would always seek his health care and solutions here in Namibia. And he was always very proud of the doctors that treated him. He was very proud of our level of technology, our resources, our equipment. That's why there's footage of him touring health centers around the country. And his vision was to have a Namibia where there was no difference between your private and your government, healthcare and education. So it's really painful to hear some people saying that you can just dismiss him going to Los Angeles as your typical, person who has the means, who leaves the rest of us who don't have the means and takes care of themselves. It's not really what he wanted at all. He always wanted to make sure that he was here getting the same health care as all other Namibians. That was a new technology that didn't exist in Namibia. That's the only reason why he left. If it was going to be your regular treatment that was available in Namibia, he would have stayed right here in Namibia. And for all the healthcare professionals of the country, I think they can attest that they had a supporter, not just one who talked about it, but one who actually sought their skills and their services whenever he needed it, and always considered those who didn't have that. So that always bothered him. So it's the healthcare side, absolutely. It's also the education. He always also, like I said in my speech, that definitely he cared about it. And I think the media sometimes misquoted him. But when he says that, let's hold hands, that's what he was trying to explain, that everybody can just do their small part in helping the children of Namibia in terms of how they get educated. So if you're sitting there and you know someone, even in the village, that's good at maybe crafting, that person can quickly take something and just like just rework it so that it can be some type of shelter for children, so they don't have to be outside under the tree getting their education. Things of that's what he was trying to say, but I think a lot of times he was misunderstood. But for him, he thought that the Namibian house should be a house where no matter your background, no matter what your socioeconomic status, there should be some basics that are universal for all of us. And that was education, that was healthcare, that was proper food, proper dwelling. That was all very important to him. And I don't think he had one night where he slept peacefully knowing that that just wasn't the case yet, and that's what he worked towards till his very, last breath.
President Geingob prioritized healthcare, equality, and access to education in Namibia for universal care and support for all citizens. The respect for traditional practices and diverse unity during his mourning exemplifies his commitment to harmony and inclusivity.
What people may not have known is that Dad was a preacher's kid. His grandfather, Opa Hans, was a man of the cloth, and Dad was religious. I think he had to put that religious part of his life on hold because of the revolution and our fight and struggle for independence. But once we had returned to peacetime, he also returned to Christ. And I think that was evidenced in how there were so many clergymen and women that played a very instrumental role in his going home service. And in fact, everybody would say, be strong, be strong. And I could only think that my strength is coming from the Lord. And I really also appreciate the fact that the church was here, holding our hands, praying with us, encouraging us, supporting us, and sharing the word of God with us so that we could bear the mourning period. We could be able to bear the mourning period.
And you also got to give respect to the traditional Damara spiritual practices too, because they came and they were here as well with the family, and they did a lot of work for us too. I appreciate they did. Staying vigil with my father's body at night, and then of course coming here and doing the ritual with the flag. It was just a beautiful thing to see. And again, I think that's the consummate of our father. The worlds that many people will think are conflicting were never conflicting with him.
On behalf of all of Hage Geingob's children, his grandchildren, his bonus children, his extended family, we would like to express our sincerest and deepest gratitude to, first of all, the Namibian government for conferring a hero's funeral upon our father. We'd like to thank all the government institutions, mostly MIRCO, Office of the Presidency, and all the other institutions that were involved in sending our father home in the most honorable and dignified way. We'd also like to thank all the men and women. I mean, we saw hundreds, thousands of you making your way to Windhoek city center. If you were coming from the 14 regions, just to pay your respects to your leader, to your president. We saw you, and we truly appreciate the sacrifice and the demonstration of love. We'd also like to thank our mother, the mother of the house, for being our example, for keeping us together and keeping us strong, and making sure that we celebrate his life and stay true to who he was during the process. And to all the heads of state, just so many heads of state.
You have to give an immense sense of appreciation to the international community. From the entire world, almost every continent was represented, and they came to console us. And I can't think of anything better than to be greeted in such a by the world itself. People say thank you.
Yes.
And how can you not be thankful for the type of reception that the people of Namibia have given us? Everywhere we walked, they just embraced and loved us. Every person. So I have to give a heartfelt thank you. Love is what comes to my mind when I think about Namibia. And it's never been more expressed than at this time, and never more needed than at this time. And the people just came through in a vast abundance, and it's just overwhelming. And I'm so appreciative, gratified, and I'm humble.
Absolutely humbled. We're so humbled.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.